You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, General Hospital fans. Well, it looks like Drew Quartermaine and Kristina Corinthos are going to have a rough few weeks, maybe a couple of months. They are both being set up to take huge public falls from grace. It is Belinda from Soap Dirt, and I know fans are divided on Kristina, but most of them are aligned on wanting to see Drew get a huge slap by karma. So let's talk about what's ahead. But first, please click subscribe if you are not following us. So we've had a ton of discussions here in the comments, and I've seen it on Soap's social media about whether Kristina was pushed or not pushed, whether, Ava's guilty or not. There's about half of people that want to see Rick triumph for Ava in this trial. And of the ones that want to see her go down and go to prison, a good chunk of these people want to see Ava punished just in general for things that they think she's never paid for, like tampering with Morgan's meds, Sonny's meds, and killing Connie, So for them, like it is for Kristina, it's about more than just this incident. And then there's a faction that, for whatever reason, still really think Kristina's telling the truth and was pushed. But we saw on day one of the testimony, while the lady DA was questioning Kristina about what happened in Ava's room, that flashback that General Hospital showed that played out in Kristina's head, it made it crystal clear where they're going with this and what Kristina's recollection is. They showed Ava's hand briefly on her arm, not grabby, not in any violent way, and them very far from the window. And then Kristina went through this whole, I'm going to call it an overreaction, whatever you want to call it, because she was in a rage. They were both in a rage, but Kristina definitely was in a rage. And she, wound up stumbling backwards, tripped on the bag, and went face first out the window. When the DA asked, Kristina replayed it mentally, and we saw her clearly seeing in her mind there was no pushing. And then she went ahead and lied in her testimony, lied to the DA, lied to the judge, lied to the jury. Even if you want Ava punished for her other crimes, GH made it very clear on Monday's episode that Kristina was lying on the stand. And I've seen some people on Soap's social media trying to salvage the argument. Like, if Ava hadn't messed with Sonny's med, Dex's beating wouldn't have happened. Kristina wouldn't have seen it. And so Ava wouldn't have done the subpoena and wouldn't have been in the room to trip over Kate's luggage. So just to talk about the timeline, if you saw those comments and were wondering, May 30th was when Sonny assaulted Dex, and Ava at that point had just recently found out that his meds were being messed with. She wasn't doing it. She had no idea who was, and Ava worried if she spoke up that she would be accused of being the one doing it because of her past with Morgan. So at that point, she was kind of trying to figure it out, kind of scared of blowback on her, because she was trying to protect Sonny because she had that little crush on him at the time. So she wasn't setting him up for any kind of fall, and because she was living with him, she was keeping an eye. And it wasn't until July 10th that she went to the pharmacist and told him to drop the meds to 0. So that was like 6 weeks after Sonny attacked Dex. As for Kate's luggage, if we want to track back the origin of that, let's go way back. If Sonny hadn't gotten Karen Wexler hooked on drugs, Kate's wouldn't have been chasing the vendetta, wouldn't have come to town, and his luggage wouldn't have been there. Or another direction, if Carly hadn't tossed Kate's out of his hotel room, he wouldn't have stashed his luggage in Ava's room. You can play this led to that all day because we've got decades of history to play with. But in the end, General Hospital, I think, made it very clear on Monday's episode the path that they are going down. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it or not, if you love Ava or hate her, if you love Kristina or hate her, the story that they are presenting is that Ava did not push her. Kristina is perjuring herself, lying on the stand, and Rick's about to destroy her. And no doubt that's to set up, I think, whatever's next, whether it's Kristina deciding to push Ava out of a window, or Sonny taking out a hit on Ava, or his baby brother Rick, whatever it is. There's going to be more to it after this trial, I'm certain, because I think Ava is going to get off, but then I think there's going to be some more with Kristina coming after her. That's what I suspect. And Even if you hate Ava and want to see her go down in flames, it's not going to happen at the trial. So Christina is about to take a hard hit in court. Already Rick accused her of lying, and there's going to be lots more coming. I'm guessing before he's done, Rick will probably trigger her in a lot of ways. Maybe he'll get her to call the baby Adela instead of Irene, and either get Molly or Christina to admit that she was going to keep the baby after giving that whole speech about what a good mom Molly would be, and that's why she did it. You know, there was that scene at the cemetery. Lots of people saw it where Christina admitted she was going to keep the baby. And that's why she had the papers, and it was all very emotional. Christina is probably going to wind up looking pretty selfish and like a big old liar. It's not going to be pretty. So let's flip over to Drew, who I think almost everybody can agree deserves to be roasted, toasted, and served up on a silver platter for public humiliation. I was cheering when Michael laid down his phone and you could see that it was recording every awful thing that Drew said on that recent episode. The lies he was telling about Willow were just the tip of the iceberg. You know, Drew is still trying to pass, oh, it's just the one kiss, you know, wrote it off as too many drinks, just a one-off. It won't happen. You know, I bet Michael's probably wishing that Jason had hit him harder or more. That black eye that Drew got from his twin was not even the karmic slap that he deserves. He deserves to lose his seat in Congress, lose his best friend Curtis, who he's doing very dirty. And definitely Drew deserves to be shown the door of the Q mansion. I cannot imagine the other Quartermaines are going to want Drew living there among them after this betrayal. So now that Michael taped Drew's lies and shared them with Curtis, you know, those two are going to conspire to take Aurora from him. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You know, I think Michael could really wreck Drew's life if he just went public with the Willow fling, since he's got absolute proof on the nanny cam. But I think Michael doesn't want to embarrass Willow. He still loves her, even though she's broken his heart. But clearly it's all going to come out in the end. And then everybody's going to look on Drew like he's a dirtbag, which pretty accurate, right? The big question, though, now that we know that Chad Duell is exiting GH early next year, is whether Willow will leave with Michael or if Drew is going to wind up winning her, even if everything else in his life blows up. To me, in my mind, it would be a really irritating outcome if Drew gets some sort of twisted happily ever after with Willow after what they've put Michael through. Even worse, if she winds up pregnant and they have a kid together. I mean, worst case scenario to me. I want Drew not to just get a karmic slap, but a complete karmic beatdown, like even worse than Jason gave him. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be Christina who's got bad stuff coming her way first for lying about getting pushed out the window. Whether you agree or disagree, General Hospital made it very clear this week that's what they're doing. So that's what we've got. You know, it's like in kindergarten, you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. But, you know, I know we're all going to pitch a fit if you don't like it on the comments here and on Soap's social media. And that's fine. That's what we do when we talk about soaps and we're upset about a plot. But I do think Drew is going to have a bigger downfall before all is said and done. And I do think Ava is going to have some consequences coming her way. I just don't think they're coming in the courtroom. I think Christina is going to try some vigilante justice or something when all is said and done.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.